Hi viewers, welcome to Scoreboard, your weekly sports program here on Aspirations Network. And it's always a pleasure to be in your company. And today we will be talking football. Actually, I don't know how much of you all will recall that just a couple of weeks ago, W Connection embarked on a 10-day tour to Italy, taking the under 16 team. And sometimes, we hear of teams going abroad and they losing games and coming back, and we want to hear victory, but I think that from the reports coming back, these young men really did their best, and as time will show what these young men have gained from the experience. And tonight we have the two coaches, actually the head coach, Brian Williams, familiar face to Ask 25. Brian, it's always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Yeah,
and we have the Italian connection, Stefano Monte, who's the youth director of W Connection. And you actually were the man responsible for putting the tour on. Let's start with you. How did this all come about, the tour, and what was the real purpose behind it?
The purpose was to give some exposure to the guys and to make them learn something new, something about professionalism, something about what players of that kind of age do it in a professional environment. So that was the purpose. Plus, why not to make them to get see from somebody. Maybe.
Okay.
And
looking back now, were you satisfied with the performance of the team, and in what areas you will now recommend that more work has to be done?
Was very good. The coach is here, so he will tell you maybe more specific about the technical aspect. I was very satisfied. We lost only the first game bad, 5-0 against Inter Milan, but that was with half of the team because the other half don't was there already. Many of the players came the night before, very late, so we play in the morning. A transoceanic flight and playing the day after was not easy. So we lost 5-0. But the other game, nothing to say, excellent game against Verona. We draw 2-2. We should win that game. We missed the penalty, we missed an easy goal, and then we get 7 crazy minutes and we draw. Good again against Udinese, and very good against AC Milan. We lost 2-1, but if it was drawing, nobody can say nothing about that.
Okay. Brian, as the head coach, you must be satisfied. I know that most times people want to see victory. If you don't see victory, you feel, well, okay, we didn't do well, right? But from the reports and the articles that I saw from that tour, a lot of eyes were on the young Trinidadian players. As the head coach, tell me how you feel after that 10-day tour was completed.
Well, definitely, George. I must say it was a great accomplishment. I must say it's a great experience for any young kid, U16s in the Caribbean, more so for Trinidad and Tobago, to have a trip of such nature, to play against the likes as Stefano mentioned, Inter Milan, Verona, Udinese, and AC Milan. It's a great achievement for any young kid in Trinidad. But before I go on, George, I really want to compliment Mr. David John Williams for his vision on the club. Because I was the club from an exception. And I was very much moved and supportive of what the vision of Mr. David John Williams, because before we started the season, he mentioned that before we kick play our first game, he said once the club do well, we win the league, he will take us to Europe. And England was more like it, looking at it, but there was little problems, and I should say, thanks for Stefano with that connection. And as simple as you see, Stefano, you have some big connections in Italy from what I saw in Italy. So I say for, our club have high, expectations and stuff like that. And taking youngsters of such nature to Italy, 25 U16 kids, was a really great achievement. And saying so footballing-wise, I was very pleased because that was one of my measurements to really see where the kids are at. And Stefano could share those views with me because we thought that in W Connection is one of the best U16 teams we had in the longest while. And they won the league convincingly, and that is one of the reasons, the reward for winning the league. And plus, as Stefano said, there are several other reasons why we took the players to Italy, for the exposure, for the business aspect of the club and stuff like that, because our club, as I said before, carry big aspirations. And that was one of the things that I look at in Italy, how our players adjusted to the likes of the youngsters in Europe who in a professional environment. I know we have some challenges here in Trinidad, but I was very pleased to see how our kids adjusted. We got into Italy just the day before the match, the evening. We kind of rushed a little training session because we trained out at AC Milan youth facilities in Milan, and the hospitality there was great. The training facilities, everything was in place. So we did a little session before Monday when we reached in there, because we get in there about Monday lunchtime. We did something in the evening, then 10 o'clock in the morning we had to play Inter, as Stefano said, but we only had half of the team. Some of our key players didn't come into Italy until the Tuesday evening. So that was a challenge, but the guys and them performed well the first half. It was 2-0, and we ended up getting 3 deflection goals in the second half. But how the kids adjusted, the whole attitude in Italy was really great, and I think it's a great achievement at any level, and the kids could only grow stronger from there.
I was at the Connection Academy on Saturday, and I was mentioning to the youth director, Debbie, right? Connection is a team that they could come out at any game, minus the stars, right, and still perform. And we saw it at the charity game against Central FC, where the big name players were not on the team, but the team performed to the highest level. And I was wondering, what was your reason for that? But seeing now where it starts at the grassroots with the young ones at Gilbert Park, and now transform into this store, because I'm sure that as time go on, we're going to see the benefits as the young men and them grow. We're going to see the benefits coming out of this store, But looking back at the tour, how did these young men match up to their counterparts?
Well, I should say, George, as I said before, they did well. We, the consensus coming out of some of the coaches in Italy that we had the opportunity to work with Mr. Italo Aberati, which is one of the
he had some coaching with Wayne Rooney and
Abramovich, Cassano, Perol, and all this stuff.
So he worked along.
Yes, he did a session with the U16.
He's the assistant of Fabio Capello for 20 years now. So he coached with him Roma, Real Madrid, AC Milan, Juventus, England national team, and Russia national team.
So he had some input into
top input, and then saying so. So we, to answer your question, I think they did well. The consensus coming out of some of the coaches in Italy that obviously, which we identify, we need to improve our speed of play and even some of the technique of our boys. Good, they're athletic, have a pretty good understanding of the game, but technically we need to improve, and also we play a little bit too slow. So this is one of the areas that we concentrate on as much as possible and try to base most of our session, even back in Trinidad, to improve our speed of play. But matching up to the players in Italy, as I said, we were very impressed and pleased with how the kids and them carry about themselves, because working with kids not only from Italy, because like for AC Milan have players from Ghana, from Holland, Argentina, and some of those clubs have players from outside of Italy that we have to play against, and we were very, very satisfied with where they carry about themselves. I think those areas what I just spoke about, to improve technically, and obviously decision making during a game is some of the area about our speed of play definitely have to improve to match the likes of the European teams and young players.
What was some of the feedback you got from the guys? I mean, we're coming back home on the trip there must have been, conversation. What are some of the feedback you got from these young men?
Well, I think it was all of them was really, really positive. Even so from the parents too and stuff like that. The exposure with the kids there and is important. W Connection presently have 10 youngsters in our U17 squad. And and even some of the national coaches were very, very pleased, appreciative to having the kids go on such tour, right? Which kind of will expose them a little more into international football. But I think generally the consensus among the kids, I think they were very, very appreciative of such tour, the exposure, they see the areas that they lack, that they have to work on and stuff and them things. And as Stefano said, it's just basically exposure is one of the key things for our youngsters in the Caribbean. We don't play against the likes of those European teams enough as we're supposed to, because as I said, one of the coaches, and even stuff in Indonesia said that, Stefano, he said that we don't really get that level of competition in the Caribbean or in Trinidad on a regular basis, the quality of our team. But they really identify some really nice, satisfied with how we play and stuff like that.
Okay. Stefano, coming from Italy to Trinidad into W Connection, what have you brought to W Connection?
I hope some good thing.
Because I mean, you are the youth director now, so you are the one to put.
I try to put some of the European experience that I have to try to make them understand what means to be a football player, because what I see is lacking sometime in the Caribbean football is the mentality. You can be a fantastic player, but if you don't have a head of the football player, it will be very difficult for you. And that means everything from diet, from time for training or game day, attitude, mental preparation before the game. This kind of little thing, then they are not too little when you put it in the whole contest.
And how did it merge between yourself and W Connection? Because W Connection always strive on getting the best. Because on Saturday I was talking to Ciabra, and the Brazilian who have now turned Trinidadian, and I see when they're turning you into a Trinidadian too. So
Connection. I have a Trini wife.
So Connection they always hold on to the best. How was that? How the relationship got together?
I met David John Williams for some football business because I was here to open a AC Milan academy in Tobago, and then when I see him and we start to talk and I say, wow, this man has something more than everybody else in football. So I tried to talk until slowly I came on board. And right now I do a lot of different things for W Connection.
Your academy is in Palmis.
Yeah, I also coach the little one from 5 to 12. What I will like to do is make them to love the jersey they put on, because that is important. When you was told before, then even in friendly game they put something more. That have to be coming because you love the jersey that you put on, because always David said, and that is a heavy shirt to put on. So you have a big responsibility. If you start from young to be proud of the jersey that you put on, it will be nice.
Brian, the 10-day tour, was it only about playing games? Were there seminars? What were the kids exposed to outside of the matches?
Well, mostly, George, it was totally football oriented to play games, because we had 4 games in about 9 days, and we try to maximize as much as possible. We know the kids out in Italy, and we'll try to expose them to the culture of Italy a little bit, but that was difficult to do. Seeing how the program went on the tour, because we play nearly every other day. We got in there, as I said, Monday evening. We played Tuesday morning, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. So we was mostly totally football oriented, but we visiting some of the, like for instance, we visit Udinese main stadium and we try to show the kids, you know, the main training areas and stuff at Udinese, and some of the things that, as Stefano mentioned, that will educate our kids as much as possible from a football perspective. So that was one of that was something at the hotel. We did some video sessions and stuff like that on our games and stuff like that. We only had one day to say ready to go out shopping and see a little bit of Italy, but from where we stayed in Milan, we had a 4.5, 5 hours drive to Udinese, which was really nice because we could see some of the countryside, the little mountains and stuff like that, and the players get that experience to in traveling those type of distance before they play. Even so, to Verona was a 2 hours drive, and you know, in Trinidad you could drive from one end to the other end in 2 hours. In 2 hours, so to go and play the games on those type of drive, I think the kids and them, as I say, responded well. But to add to Stefano input at W Connection, I think I should stress and not leave him alone, because Stefano really brought a lot to W Connection, as I'd say, more so as the technical director of the youth arm. You know, some of our games, he came and took pictures and exposed some of the guys on the Facebook, and they used that social media to show.
Congratulations on the video. The video was impressive because I met John Williams and the first thing he said, you saw the video?
Yes, that type of work that I say that Stefano brought a lot. Always with his camera and try to market our kids, or show our kids to the rest of Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the world, which is one of the areas that we need to embark a lot on in Trinidad, because some of the clubs, we rest on our laurels and not try to go into the heavy marketing aspects of the clubs. We know it's difficult in Trinidad with 1.2, 1.3 million people, but I think clubs could do more in that aspect. You understand what I mean? And as he said, W Connection, or with all due respect to all the clubs in Trinidad and Tobago, I think really have high standards and carry that level of quality that in the youth arm and the youth coaches, we try to always get the best.
I must agree with you, because I remember going to Mr. John Williams' office, and I went into the media room, and he was explaining that there is footage of every single game and player,
all level,
and he can tell you how many minutes a player played, how many times he touched the ball, and everything. And I think that is what you call professional, because I mean, if a scout comes from abroad, he wants information on the player. And he don't want to know, well, okay, he played 5 games and he scored 10 goals. He wants certain information, and that is what W Connection has. And that is why I said in the opening that regardless of what players are missing, W Connection always comes out, you know, although they might lose a game, but the standard of play it maintained. I know we have to take a quick break, but Brian, what would you be expecting now from these players under your charges as you're back home?
Well, George, what is difficult for us in Trinidad as a club is always to hold our players. Although the kids in them are registered this year with W Connection, there's still a grey area in really holding our kids. In terms of a kid could come tomorrow and say, well, look, I go into another club. Which is something that is difficult for us to have total control over. For instance, like these kids start with us in preparation in January and we go up to more or less July. Now they're off to the respective school teams for the next 6 months of the year. And that sometimes does be a challenge for proper continuity. But in saying so, we try as best as possible to, as we say, setting good standards to try to keep our kids in the club as long as possible. Because, for instance, this U16 team that I have here now, I had them for the last 2-3 years. I have them next year will be U17, and then we'll go to the next year at U18. So the next 2 years, if I'm God spare life and if I'm still the coach in the W Connection and stuff, I have this same under 16 team for the next 2 years. So we're hoping that the kids and them could stay with the team with the type of exposure they're getting. There will be more, it could attract some of the better youngsters in the country to come to the club. So I expecting that for us to build from here. Because that type of investment that the club making on the young players, I hope they understand together with the parents,
it's
the
a bigger,
investment,
yeah.
the investment, and could stay with the club, that we could continue to develop these players at a higher level, or to get into our senior team, or even go abroad. So that is one of the areas that the club really rests in all that we very passionate about the game, and we look to win every youth competition. What is our main objective is where the youngster go at senior level, get into our senior team, get a contract abroad. So this is kind of the really true football development that we're looking at our youngsters.
Well, there you heard it. We are talking to two members of the W Connection outfit, Brian Williams, the head coach of the under-16, and Stefano Monte, the youth director. Remember, these two gentlemen were on the 10-day trip to Italy, and we have a couple of the players in studio that we're going to be talking with them. So stay tuned. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back. Hi, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm George, host of Scoreboard, your Tuesday night sports program on Axe Television Network. Catch me at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Remember, Scoreboard, real sports, the news, the views, the interviews. Or you can log on to www.axe25tt.com. Remember, Scoreboard, right here on Axe Television Network. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard on Axe 25. I'm still chatting with Stefano and Brian. We're going to talk to the four youngsters a little later. Stefano, coming into the Trinidad football on the whole, right? Were you privy to Trinidad football before coming to this country?
Nothing, actually.
I don't know. Right. And when you came in, when you came in and saw, what was your first impression?
Okay. My life was always football. So as soon I moved to Tobago first, because I went to live in Tobago first. First thing, getting a football team. It was Phoenix at that time. With Terry Williams. So I cannot stay far from football anyway. And I see a lot of teams. It was a Super League team. A different league from the Pro League, but I will say technically not too different also. I don't see a big difference technically.
But what are some of the strengths and weaknesses that you see with our football?
All of them good athletes, physically very good. They need a lot of work tactically, I think, and speed of the game, like the coach was saying. We see, and then they play a little slow, respect to the other people.
Okay. Brian, I know out of 25, it's going to be difficult, and I mean, if you refuse to answer the question, I will understand. But there must be, out of the 25 players that, caught your eyes, that you are looking for great things. We have four guys in here, so I don't know if you don't want to call a name. I mean, I could think, but there must be a couple of players or you see in there, like for instance, like how the talk on everybody's lips right now is young Levi Garcia, right? For some time now, I was telling somebody that after a season, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but after every season years gone by in the college league, at the end of the season, you could rattle off at least 5 or 6 names of players who went on to greater things.
Yes.
We have seen a decline in that. That sometimes you get one, you might get two, right? But from your 25, I mean, there must be players there that you are, expecting great things from.
Yes, George, it's something that I try to really say, refrain from doing, really, because of my, my relationship with the players and stuff like that. But obviously, there are some outstanding kids at the club, and as I mentioned earlier on to you, that we have 9 or 10 of those boys presently playing for our U17 team.
That reminds me of when we had in the early when we had 8 and 9 players from Point.
From St. Benedict's and stuff, and making up the national team.
Yeah.
So I think for number one, the work at the club and stuff like that, but to single out any of them guys might be difficult for me to do. All right, but because collectively they have been performing pretty well and stuff like that, those 10 that we have on the national team, and we have 4 here. Right now, who the viewers will see in a while, those are some of the key players in the club. All right, and there's I must say for those 4, Karim, Riley, Nate Brooks, Changaya, young Changaya, our goalkeeper, and young Isaiah Hudson is really, really outstanding players at the club. For Isaiah Hudson, he's a 14-year-old. Playing U17 football, and he always play above his age for the longest while. So I think those are some of the players that we're expecting a lot from, right? Hudson recently went to Barcelona also with one of the Naparima young players at the U20, Jabari Mitchell, and stuff like that. And we try to see if we could develop these players in them as much as possible. What is important is the level of consistency and the passion those kids will have for the game. Will take them further. But generally, I see a good head from most of them. It's just application for the further development, which we expect a lot from them. They have the responsibility as players, but you realize I can still refraining from singling out any individual in any major way. But those are some of the kids, that we expect a lot from. I would say those presently on the national team. And out of that, we will see with how serious they want to really move forward.
Okay. After the likes of the Kenyon Jones and the Carlos Edwards, we are not seeing much of our players getting contracts to England also. What is the...
England getting difficult now because with this regulation of the FA, not everybody just can have a work permit and go to England. You have to be a national team player. You have to play, I think, 75% of the games. And also the national team have to be in the first 70 of the FIFA ranking. So we are not there. So it will be very difficult to get a contract in England. In Italy, sometimes worse, because they can play only 2 extra UA players for each team in Serie A. And obviously they want top players.
But George, to add to what Stefano was saying too, it's something we try to develop at the club a lot. These guys, passion for the game, the responsibility. We try to create a professional environment at the club as much as possible. Right? What Stefano brought and add to the club, the professionalism from the players. And one of the problems, the challenges that we have to see that, which is true, that we're not getting enough players who are making it into the big leagues as much as possible, because we're still getting reports, even if all the exposure they're getting, they don't have the right passion, they don't have the right attitude. When they get into the European environment, players still lack that level of exposure on a regular basis to see what is what is understood to really make them go to that other level, because there might be some type of distraction or whatever, which we as coaches also have our responsibility in moving these kids forward. You know what I mean? But more so, these kids have to understand that is one of the reasons why we take them to Italy. What it really takes to be a professional. You've got to work hard and really operate yourself on and off the field.
It's an
You know what I mean?
eye-opening experience for them.
Yes, yeah, because too much different reports that we get that our kids don't have, they have talent, they have ability, but they don't have the right attitude, or they lay back and stuff like that, or either sometimes complain about the necessary work that they need to do. I was taken back, and even so when we were visiting Udinese, seeing some of the scientific and the modern equipment, they have like sensors to check the players' speed and intensity.
I saw a picture of the
amazing.
gym.
That
gym was, yeah.
A coach could go through his data in the higher scientific aspect of the game to say, well, look now, you ain't covered the distance that you're supposed to cover in the football game, but you're not moving to the level of the speed and intensity, you know. And we players have to see that.
The players train with the GPS on.
The GPS on.
Everything recorded.
Yes. So they measure the intensity, because I was happy. I was happy when Mr. Italio Aberrati take this session, because I had to observe too as a coach, and all due respect. I don't know if it's the players' belief in their own and stuff. The players responded different.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? This is something that I always talk about, that we have to get rid of. Because the football knowledge in the world today, it have nothing you can hide now, you know. And I always say there is no bad coach. Coaches are different, and we have to understand, the players have to understand. Because when Mr. Aberrati operate, you could see some things, I learned some certain things, but how the players responded. And you don't see there's much of a difference in the type of drills we do. But you see the players give you a little more intensity or whatever, I don't know. It's something that we have to work on, or they have to come away from that, as I
Motivation.
said. Yes, that motivation,
Well, you know,
that inferiority complex.
You kind of jumped the gun there, because the next question was really, we talk so much about the guys now. I was coming to ask you, what as a coach, right, on this whole 10-day tour, what have you gained and what have you brought back that you're going to implement now in your coaching ability?
Yes, well, I always say to try to maintain the best professional environment for these kids, and then try to carry that balance and that equity and that heavy discipline of training, because these guys know at Derby Connection, even self, we train, during our season, we train three days for the week with a match day. And they know if you don't do 2, I give them up to 2. When even if it's inadequate, 3 days a week at U16s, it's not enough training for our kids. But even if they have 3, because of, they have their school work and all those different things that we take into consideration. But they know if they don't do 2, they wouldn't be selected regardless of who. So I always try to keep that level of equity, that level of high discipline and stuff like that in the team. And what I saw in Italy. You understand what I mean? If players injured and stuff like that, it's difficult for them to play. They've got to be on time and all those different. And this is some of the things that we always try to implement into our players here. But as we say, it's as much as we could do in motivation. But the kids and them have to see the bigger picture. They have to see the bigger picture, because sometimes they feel, as we say, the technical director of the senior team, Stuart, always say, our kids, they ain't grow up really in a real professional environment. Yeah. Like a kid, it's difficult for a kid to come and tell the parents in Trinidad that I want to be a professional footballer. But they could do that. A kid could do that in Italy, he could do that in England, he could do that in Brazil, because that in professional environment always there for them. You understand what I mean? Because it's difficult for a parent to hear a kid say, Daddy, I want to be a professional footballer. And say, "What, boy? True? You true?" So those type of things, and somebody, But I could, as I say, there's a lot of things that I learned in Italy, in the whole approach towards the game, maintaining that heavy discipline towards the play, and that is something that I will continue to carry about in our club and with these youngsters.
Stefano, we need to take a break. Any closing comments before I release you all and then bring the guys on?
Not really. I'm very happy for them, because I see they like the experience.
Okay.
And they learn something new. They see a new country. Most of them, they never travel.
Any more tours coming up with your connection?
Not right now. For some players, I think so, but not for the whole team, for sure.
Well, Brian, it was a pleasure.
Same
Stefano.
My pleasure.
Again, welcome to Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you.
And we hope that you will continue giving that great input into W Connection.
Thank
And
you very much.
as I said on Saturday, W Connection undoubtedly the best organized professional team in Trinidad and Tobago.
It's
Because
definitely.
we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to some of the youngsters who was on that 10-day tour in Italy. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Scoreboard. And we have two of the four youngsters in studio with us. And viewers, these guys are not ordinary footballers. They are members of the national under-17 team, and these are the guys who went to Italy and they trying to make us proud. We have Nate Brooks and the skipper Kareem Riley. Gentlemen, welcome. Let me start with you, Nate. As a member of W Connection, how long have you been a member of W Connection? And how did it all started for you?
It started last year. It was my first season with the club.
Okay.
You know.
So you didn't really actually start at the academy?
Nah.
Okay. Mm.
Last season I came into the club, Coach Brian, as a coach. He was a coach at Press, so that was the reason. First season it was alright, coming to a professional club for the first time. So.
What are some of the things that you said coming into a professional club for the first time? What are some of the things you consider professional that you saw when you came into the club?
The training sessions were different, and how the club carry about themselves, to go to games and stuff, and everything was just different from all the other clubs in Trinidad.
So where you started playing football at? What coaching school?
Well, it had a coaching school, Dunstan Williams
Okay.
Academy.
Yeah.
That's where I really started from.
Okay. Well, you can still say that's part of the W Connection, the W Connection. Yeah. Tell me a bit about your experience with the tour to Italy.
Well, the Italy tour, it was a great experience, playing against some of the top clubs,
Yeah.
Udinese, Verona, AC Milan. It was a great experience seeing, getting the exposure, seeing what it takes to be a professional, and seeing the facilities that the youths out there have and we do have, and the hard work that you have to put into each other. It was a great tour.
Yeah, but you ain't telling me the whole truth. I mean, you was the man who scored the 2 goals. What was it feeling like? I mean, because you're not scoring goals against presentation or no normal side. I mean, those sides are Napsamin. Those teams are what you would consider at that level professional youth teams. Yeah.
Well, when I scored the first goal, I couldn't believe it. How it came. Then I scored the second one. So, what is this, man? I was shocked. But I continued playing. I could have scored a hat-trick, but show a penalty. That kind of saw me, but continue playing. We ended up drawing the game. It was a little sad, but all that in it.
What have you brought back from that tour that you will implement in your football career?
Well, the experience, the speed of the game, different, the intensity, the aggression. You can say that is it.
Okay. When we talk to Sir Riley, the captain, being the captain of any team, there's always a responsibility that lies with it, right? You being the captain on this tour, what was it like for you?
It was a great experience, first and foremost, and as a captain in W Connection 2 years back, And when I heard that they decided to make me the captain, I was very proud, and I knew it was a lot of responsibility because it was 24 other players, and technically as part of an extension of our coach per se to the team. So I accepted that responsibility, and it played off well.
Okay. Were you part of the academy from a tender age, or you came in?
Yeah, I came in the academy when I was 8 years old
That's at Gilbert Park.
at Gilbert Park, from Kirtwin Bed Academy. I came.
You know what's amazing, and I saw it there on Saturday, is that you players come from that academy, go through the ranks, you know, through the professional team. Some like Winchester and these guys go abroad, and they actually, we hear about the coaches, like for instance the Brian Williams or the other coaches, but you don't hear about the coaches in the academy. And I was surprised to see so many females in the Connection Academy, and I don't think there's any academy outside there with female coaches that developing young players that who are coming through the ranks and being professional. What was the experience like for you on that tour?
No, it was a great experience. It was totally different. The attitude, everything was different. Even the culture and what we ate over there was different. It was just a totally new experience. We had to acclimatize quickly because we had to play the games in quick succession. But for me, I was there, I think, 2 days before the rest of the team came.
Okay.
And I had a chance to roam around and adapt to the different cultures and witness new things and stuff. I actually went to the AC Milan versus Lazio game, which was the opening game in the Serie A season. Great atmosphere.
Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Let me wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Stay safe and continue to excel in your football career.
Thanks.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and we come back. We're going to talk to the last two guys, and we're going to wrap up. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm George, host of Scoreboard, your Tuesday night sports program on Axe Television Network. Catch me at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Remember, Scoreboard, real sports, the news, reviews, the interviews. Or you can log on to www.axe25tt.com. Remember, Scoreboard, right here on Axe Television Network. Welcome back, viewers, and we have the final two members of the W Connection Under 16 team here. Again, two current Under 17 national players. We have Enrique Changaya and Isaiah Hudson. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. Let me start with you first. Well, you're the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You started with the Connection Academy, or you came in at a later age? What was it?
I came in last year, really.
Okay. And how you came in? Brian Pullin?
No, I was invited by some of the players.
Okay, all right. Okay. I know Brian Pullin only good player. Yeah. What's it like to be a member of the Connection club?
It was a great feeling to play with the Connection, knowing that they're the #1 team in Trinidad and Tobago. They're a more professional team. And really, it was a great experience joining this team. Because I learned a lot from coaches and players.
Okay. You got selected to go as the goalkeeper to Italy. What was the experience like for you? The experience going to Italy?
Well, it was a great experience. I learned a lot. The intensity, the aggression, the speed of play over there is different. The resources they have was incredible.
What are some of the things you have brought back that you're going to implement in your game?
The experience most important that I learned from over there.
Mm.
How to play quicker during the games, match the intensity of the players, strength.
Okay. Isaiah, at age 14, you playing big man football, right? As a member of the connection, you you were the academy or?
No, I was in the academy. I joined 4 years ago through Coach Leon Lewis. He invited me to train with the team, and that's why I ended up playing the connection.
Right. Now, at 14, you still young, made a team going to Italy, you know, playing for the national team. Did you ever, when you started playing football, did you plan or foresee yourself actually at this stage achieving so much?
No, I never really saw myself in this position. I went to Barcelona, my favorite club. I'm still in shock at this point because I didn't expect these kind of stuff to happen.
How that experience was?
Well, Barcelona was a completely different environment. Football, different people, amazing. Getting to see players like Lionel Messi. And
So you had the opportunity to meet,
I went and watched the game. So it was really amazing for me at age 13.
Yeah. Your experience with the Italy tour, what was that like?
The experience for me was very good. The people and was good. For me, I didn't play to my best of my ability, but I got a job done by assisting some of the goals and doing what I supposed to do on the field.
Before I let you all go, big game tomorrow. Naps leading the standards right now. What can we expect tomorrow from you all?
Picture.
Yeah. Would you all say that this tour has helped you all to help your team, the college?
Well, yeah, it will help us to go and talk to the other players, telling them what we have learned, speed of play, how to adjust, stuff like that. So yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, 'cause I wanted to find out how for the players on the team who didn't have that opportunity, you know, what sort of input you all give to them, you know, with the little experience that you all have gathered. Gentlemen, we want to thank you all very much. I hope that you all can pull it off tomorrow. I hope that you all can go on to win the first Premier League college league title. And in your career as W Connection players, young Trinidad and Tobago players, we want to wish you all the best. And you all are in a professional outfit. You all went and you all see what real and true professionalism is about. So we want to hope that you all will maintain that. And as Brian said earlier, W Connection has invested a lot because I'm sure it costs a great deal to take 25 men to Italy. And I hope that you all could repay the organization with gratitude and maybe going abroad and, you know, making John Williams and the W Connection organization proud. So again, thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you all in the red, white, and black, or in the Barca colors. I hope I'll be able to get an interview with you when you get to Barca. Next time I see you, you have to tell me, well, talk to your agent, because I ain't talking to no agent. You was here first, right? Yeah. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of another edition of Scoreboard. We were talking to the coaches and members of the W Connection under 16 team that went on that 10-day tour to Italy. What more can we say about W Connection? It's one of the better run clubs, but an organization club, and one of the clubs that has won the most trophies so far, and they already collected one piece of silverware for 2014. That's a Charity Shield. And who's to say next year or next 2 years we will be seeing these very sad faces that you saw yesterday representing W Connection on the Pro League team, and maybe seeing them on teams abroad. So we want to wish Brian, Stefano, and all the youngsters of that team all the best, and as we continue to monitor their progress, and we know that they're going to do well because they are in a professional environment, run by professional coaches and managers. So viewers, we want to thank you for staying with us, and we hope that you enjoyed this interview, and we hope to see you next week at the same time, same channel, right here on Axe 25 Television Network. We thank you very much.
Call it magic, call it true. I call it magic when I'm with you, and I just got broken into two. Still I call it magic when I'm next to you. And I don't, and I don't, and I don't, and I don't. No, I don't, it's true. I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't want anybody else but you. I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't. No, I don't, it's true. I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't, no, I don't want anybody else but you. Wanna fall, I fall so far. I wanna fall, I fall so hard. And I call it magic, and I call it true. I call it magic. Some saw the sun, some saw the smoke, some heard the gun, some bent the bow. Sometimes the wire must tense for the no. We're caught in the fire. Say oh, we're about to explode. Carry a word. I'll carry a word.
We keenly look forward to the trip to Italy and Europe on the whole, because I think it's one of the areas that back home in the Caribbean that we lack the type of exposure that our kids really need to go to really lift the game or to improve the game, as we would say generally. We know in Italy is one of the leading footballing nations, and we was really pleased to come to Italy to give the boys that type of exposure. Especially, I must compliment Mr. Stefano Mote for organizing such a tour, because coming out of the Caribbean, hardly likely we'll get a U16 club team to get to play against the likes of Inter Milan, Verona, Udinese, and AC Milan. So it's a big achievement for the kids, our kids in the Caribbean. More so, our club, we have about 10 boys on the national team in Trinidad, and it's a great experience for them. So this trip also is a plus for them and also for the club.
since I was a little kid, my dad introduced me to football at an early age. He would always buy a ball for me. For my birthday, he would buy boots, football clothing. And I was brought up into the sport and had a lot of talent from a young age. And me, my best footballer is Cristiano Ronaldo, because it shows how hard work can pay off. Because he worked hard every day in training, gym, from an early age, and he promoted in the ranks and became, well, to me, the best player in the world.
Carry you
Since I met John David Williams, I saw he was in the same thinking than I am. So he's very ambitious. He wants to do something for the youth. So when he was talking about to do a tour with our under-16 team, came an idea. So let's go to do an Italian tour. I have a lot of connection in Italian football. We organize 4 very good games with 4 top clubs in Italy, Serie A. The dream is then our players want to see what they're going to find if one day they will be professional in Europe. Try to learn something about lifestyle in a country that is not your country. What athletes eating before the game, what is the facility they can go to find. Well, this can be a good thing for our youth.
The experience in Italy has been good thus far. We had some challenges in the travel to get here, with our group having to split into 4 different groups. But in the end, when we all got here, it's been a good experience for the boys. The exposure has been good for them. New experiences in seeing a new city, whole new part of the world for them. The traveling on the subway, the metro, seeing the level that these other teams are playing at and the grounds that they play on, the facilities, the speed of the game. It's been a really good experience to have them. The exposure has been great for them, and I'd love to see the olden parts of the city, the architecture, the history of Italy, which may not be afforded on this tour because we're here on the business of football and getting the players exposed. But it's definitely a city that I want to come back to and see.